kind of know my story a little bit, I'm one of you guys, really. I'm not on a speaking tour at all. I'm here just to really give my testimony, and that's it. So I've been in your shoes. I'm in your shoes now. So that's why I'm here, just to kind of tell you I feel like I stumbled onto something that you guys would find valuable. So that's why I'm here to tell you about it. A little bit about me. You guys know, I'm owner and CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. We operate here and out of Tacoma, Washington, and multiple states. I was telling you, we're looking at Florida, Arizona, places I want to go to. We'll open up shop if we can. But right now we're in Tacoma, Washington, and here in Houston. But I wasn't always in construction. My first job was a police officer. I was a police officer in Honolulu and in San Diego. And then I was also in the Navy for 23 years. This is actually a photo of me on a ship, USS Blue Ridge, South China Sea. I don't know if you remember, in 2011 there was a big tsunami in Japan, and the nuclear power plant had a bunch of damage. So the Japanese people had a hard time there. So we were a part of that mission to help bring in food and supplies. It was a really valuable and rewarding mission that we were on. So that's a picture of me during that time frame. And then I also did a tour in Afghanistan. So when I went out to Afghanistan, my job was to fly drones for the Special Forces. And when I got out there, that's how my construction profession started, was in Afghanistan. And what I mean by that is, when I got there, they said, "Hey, Chris, welcome to Afghanistan. This is your site, and you need to build it, because we can't fly operations on a dirt field." And I said, "I don't know anything about construction." And they said, "Well, we'll give you plans, we'll give you the material, you just got to figure it out." So what I did was I had to find subcontractors, and they're all Afghanis. So that was a challenge, right? But I learned a lot. I learned about scope of work, following a plan. The biggest things that I learned were the change orders. So the plan was great. We had a really nice site, but there was no bathroom. And I didn't realize that until halfway through the project. So I'm like, hey, there's no bathroom, and we're in Afghanistan. So we had to get like a storage container, put a bunch of toilets in it, and then we put it on our camp. And then I was excited because, hey, we got a bathroom. Then I was having lunch with somebody, and he said, "What are you going to do about septic?" And I'm like, "Well, what's that?" He goes, "Well, what happens when you flush the toilet?" And I'm like, oh man, I didn't even think of that. So that was change order number 2, septic tank, right? So we found a big drum that was left over by the Russians in the 1980s, painted the inside, sealed it up, buried it, and that's our septic tank right there. So anyway, when I left, it's not a multi-million-dollar house, but it was kind of cool. I left, we have electrical, we have IT, we have everything that we needed to live and operate, and my fingerprints are all over that project. And that's when I was really, gosh, this construction thing is kind of fun. Like, I didn't swing hammers, I just managed the project, and I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So I left Afghanistan, and I left the police department. I retired from the Navy. Then I went into a season of my life where I was like, what the hell am I going to do? So I went back to school. I taught for a year, hated it, so I left. I worked for the Department of the Army in the HR department. I hated that, so I left after 4 months. I worked at another school as an operations director. That was okay, nothing really that exciting. Worked at a church as a facilities manager, which is where I learned more about construction management, overseeing bigger projects. It was a lot of fun. Learned some stuff there. I lived in San Diego, Massachusetts, and then finally in Seattle, Washington, and now Houston. So as you can see, it's like, what am I doing with my life? So that lasted for several years, and you fast forward to 2020, I had my own property management company. It was Pacific Rim Property Management up in Seattle, Washington. And when we opened up our doors, we had our clients buy up these really ugly and rundown apartment complexes. And they reached out to me and said, "Hey, Chris, you know anyone who can do construction and remodeling on our apartment complexes?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do it." So they're like, okay, cool. And they hired me, and that's how Elevation Construction was born. And then from there, my first projects were 3 one-bedroom apartments. Now, looking back, I've done a million of these since then, but at that time, that was like the most important thing going on in my life, were these 3 projects. And I took it seriously because somebody was actually paying me for this. And so I did pretty well. So well, in fact, that my demand increased. I was asked to do a 29-unit complex, all the interior, had to do the painting, the siding, the roof for 2 buildings, and I had to do the parking lot too. I turned a duplex into a 5-unit complex. I turned an old house into a really nice house. So the demand was there, and I was doing it all, But the thing was, as time went on, you get too busy, this is my team. It was me, a card table, a folding chair, and a computer. And the system I was using was Google Drive. So I had a hard time, so much so that I didn't know what the status of my company was. I didn't know what my AR was. I didn't know what my AP was. One of the things that my clients were telling me at the beginning was like, Chris, your level of communication is excellent. But as time went on, they started complaining like, hey, Chris, we're not hearing from you anymore. And you're out and about, you're going to projects, you're trying to gather as much information, and then you get home, you're like, ugh, what am I going to do, right? And you're just working all day long. Not only that, but I was running 2 companies. So it was a bit of a challenge. And at that point, I didn't know if I was going out of business or not. I knew I had money coming in, I just don't know how much of that money was mine. And I was actually thinking that, gosh, I think I'm going out of business here. And I was actually going to close it because it was just too much. It was a headache. So I had 2 options. I can either quit or I can do something about it. So this was my dream, to have my own business, especially in an industry that I liked, which was construction. So I decided to do something about it, and it led me on this journey where I sought out coaching. I was spending more time on the business rather than in the business. You guys know the difference, right? The day-to-day is in the business. On the business is working on your systems and procedures and things like that. I purposely had to carve out time in my day to work on the business. And the other thing, what we were talking about earlier, is going to events like this. So I was around like-minded people. Like today, this is the last hour of the last day, and you guys are here. And that tells me that you guys really want to do something with your business. There's something there that you want to learn so that you can grow and expand, right? And I feel like I'm in a room full of like-minded people, and this is what I like. And going through this journey, it led me to the top 3 secrets to scaling your business without losing your mind. So the first one is building the right team. Who here has an updated org chart for their business? You do? Yeah, some of us do. In order to build the right team, you have to get organized. You have to know who's going to do what, right? So it all starts with an org chart. Org chart, you have 4 basic departments. You have marketing, sales, operations, finance. Marketing makes the phone ring. Sales answers the phone and closes the deal. Operations takes care of the client. And then finance watches the money in, money out, and records everything, right? And the biggest thing that I liked at the beginning of my journey is my executive assistant. My executive assistant handled all of my administrative stuff, my communication while I was driving around. I would say, hey, Isamar, blah, 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 I need to do this. She would handle it for me, and by the time I got home, it was all done. And it was amazing. I loved it. The second thing is job descriptions. Who here has a job description for their own position? You do, I'm sure, right? Yeah, I do too. But one thing that I find, so job descriptions, as you know, it jots down your roles and responsibilities for what you do. But the 2 things that I feel that job descriptions miss are KPIs. Everyone know what KPIs are? Key performance indicators. It's like your goals that you have to meet every week, month, or year. KPIs are missing on the job descriptions, and so are the personality assessments. Now, I like to use the DISC assessment. And so the reason why that's important, for example, a salesperson is very extroverted, right? They're outgoing, they like to talk. In the DISC assessment, that would be an I. An accountant is going to be a C. They're compliant. They like rules. They like to sit behind their computer, not talk to anyone, and just punch numbers. So if someone's applying for your accounting job and they're an I, they may not be the best fit because they're going to be talking all day long. It's like, hey, get behind the computer and do math. I don't need you talking to people, right? And you don't need a C applying for a sales position because they're going to be afraid to talk to people. So that's why I feel a personality assessment is important for your job descriptions. So the next thing was, who should I hire? Who's my first hire? So the way I approached it was, I wrote down all the tasks that I'm not good at. Then I wrote down all the tasks that I hate doing. And then I wanted to identify positions that would help make things more efficient. And for me, my first hire, and I alluded to it earlier, was my executive assistant. Now this screen is horrible, but there's a picture of her right here. It's just a black square, but this is Isamar. You can see it on my computer better. This is Isamar. She is a stay-at-home mom in Aguas Calientes. And she's everything that I'm not. She's organized. She likes to file things. She likes to do HR, which is like, why do you like doing HR? Who likes doing that? She likes doing it. She manages my calendar. She organizes my email. So at one time, my inbox had 12,000 emails in it. Now it's only got 5 because she filed everything away. So she has been a very huge help for me, and she's in Aguas Calientes. This is Fernanda. Fernanda is a 20-year-old college student in Guadalajara. She handles all my marketing and my branding. Marketing is the lifeblood, as you probably know, the lifeblood of your business. If you don't have marketing, you don't have leads. If you don't have leads, you don't have sales, right? She handles all that. In fact, the slides here that you see, she put them together for me. I just told her what I want, kind of an outline. She put all this together for me. And she lives in Guadalajara. This is Alma. Alma is she's got a college degree, 15 years in corporate world, lives in Mexico, Guadalajara. She's my operations manager. Everything operational goes through her before it comes to me. So for majority of the time, she can handle it. So I can go to events like this, and I know all our jobs are being handled because she's taking care of it. It takes time to learn, but she learned quickly, and she handles it all. And this is why I don't have to travel to Washington all that much. This is Liz. Liz went to school with Alma, and she's got a finance degree, has 15 years of experience, quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom, and now she works for me. And she has fixed our systems in finance, and she's my finance manager right now. This is Vanessa. So Fernanda got so busy, we needed someone to help her out. Vanessa's her cousin. She's a college student in Guadalajara as well. So we brought her on to help out with marketing. And if you ever see our social media, that comes from Vanessa. And then Elsa came on. Elsa is actually Alma's sister. Elsa came on because Alma was getting so busy, we needed someone to order all our flooring, all our appliances, schedule all of our vendors to come in. So Elsa handles all that for us, and she's in Chihuahua, Mexico. And then our last team member, this is Brianna. Brianna is a military spouse, originally from Germany, and she helps out with our sales coordination. So whenever a lead comes in, she handles that lead until it's transferred over to operations. She currently lives in Washington, but she could live anywhere in the world with the position that she has. So this is my team. They're amazing. And now that I got a team and they have job descriptions, where do I go from there? So this is secret number 2, creating the right systems. So who here has documented systems for their business? Yeah, it's hard, right? It's hard. I mean, you kind of know what you do, but like you got to write it down. And even after you write it down, you still have to update it because things change as you go. Every business has about 8 to 11 systems in it. And the one system that I really wanted to fix was the journey of the lead. So the job descriptions really address what each position is going to do and what each person's going to do, but it doesn't really talk about how they interact with each other or how each department interacts. And that's what the systems are for. And so this is what I wanted to solve, is that every handoff, there's a chance for something to get dropped, a lead to get lost, and sales to go down, right? So if you create that system, less likely of that happening. So what I want to do is give you a real-world, actual scenario that happened in Bremerton, Washington, back in March. And this is Fernanda. I gave Fernanda access to my personal Facebook profile. And her job is to go into different groups and post a photo of what we did. And say, hey, everyone, check this out. We just finished the kitchen. And that usually stirs up a conversation within that group. And then that'll go into a Facebook conversation, which happened here. And a guy in Bremerton, Washington wanted us to do his kitchen, or not, his bathroom. So Fernanda said, okay, cool, let me get you in touch with somebody who can actually schedule our estimator to come out. And that handoff happened, and it went over to Brianna, to our sales. So Brianna talked to the lead and said, hey, let me get my estimator out there, when's a good time? And they worked out the time, and then Socrates came in. Now Socrates is my subcontractor, and he knows that if he goes out, if we get the job, he gets the job. So he doesn't charge us at all for the estimation at all. So he'll go out there, does what he needs to do. He gets data, measurements, understands what the vision is, what they want to do, and then he comes home and he'll do his numbers and he'll send them back to Brianna. Brianna will look at them. She'll go back and forth with operations because we're checking the prices. We're checking prior projects that Socrates has done because we want to make sure he hasn't changed his prices on us. If he does, it's like, hey, what's going on here? It's happened a couple times, but we caught it. And so after that, she uploads it all up into Buildertrend, our software that we use. And then she contacts the lead and say, hey, here's your estimate. Let us know what you want to do and if you want to go forward. And in this case, he did want to go forward. He liked what he saw. Alma came in and she created the contract for the owner and she created the contract for the subcontractor. We have contracts for all projects, even with our subs. And so after the contracts were signed, it was time for Liz to get involved. Liz sent out the invoice, deposit from the owner, she paid our sub, and then once the money settled, Socrates got to work. He did all the materials, he scheduled it, he's got a crew, he's doing everything, right? And then this is what I really like, is our weekly communication. He is obligated by our contract every week to give us what he did this week, what he plans on doing next week, and all the photos and videos that he took. And then what he does is sends them to Alma. Alma would take a look at them. She'll look at the scope of work, ask questions, go back and forth, and once we're satisfied, she puts it into our operations chat, and Elsa would take those photos, download them, and put them into Buildertrend for us. This happens every week until the job is done. And when the job is done, Alma will make sure, like, hey, the blue tape inspection was done, everything looks good, the owner's happy, we're happy, and then she reminds her, hey, finance is going to get in touch with you, and they're going to send you the invoice for the remaining balance. And that's when Liz comes back into the picture. She sends an invoice, pays off the subcontractor, and updates our gross profit per project spreadsheet that we have and all the internal stuff that we have to measure our stuff. But that's not all. After this, Fernanda gets back into the picture. Fernanda will go into our software, Buildertrend. She'll pull down the before and after photos, and she'll create content on social media for both TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and she'll create a YouTube video that she'll put on YouTube, of course, but she'll also put it on our website. So she already knows how to do this. When a project is done, she's triggered to go ahead and pull all this stuff, and it's done automatically because we have our systems. So you see all this stuff, but did you see who's missing in there? Me, right? So what was I doing, right? Other than sleeping in. What was I doing? Well, I was going to network events. I joined a BNI, and I'm networking with people. I'm doing this BNI tour around Houston. I'm getting people to know who we are. I'm growing my business. I'm doing things that owners of businesses should be doing. Not only that, but I'm able to hang out with friends. I've got 3 hairless friends that I like to hang out with and smoke cigars and drink whiskey every now and then, right? I'm able to hang out with my wife more, which she's happy. My son likes to have midday lunch breaks, so we'll go out and we'll go have pizza, and we're able to do that because I have people handling the business for me. My son is starting freshman football, so I could take mornings off and work out with him. And then overall, I could just hang out with my family more often. And it's just weird for me because I've never been able to do this before. And I feel like, gosh, like I don't feel like I'm doing anything, but my team is handling it. It's amazing. But the next question is, can I afford a team like this? That's what I would be asking. And if you look at the industry average for construction, you're looking at about 40 to 50% of your revenue goes towards payroll. If I were to take my team and place them into the United States, I'd be paying $36,000 a month in payroll. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not paying $36,000 a month in payroll. That's way too much. But because I have a remote team and I'm paying them a fair wage for the area that they live, I'm paying $12,000 a month. This is 66% less than the industry average. So what does this mean? This leads to secret number 3, which is lowering your payroll expenses. I'm able to hire 2 or 3 remote team members for the price of 1 US-based employee. The same talent, English skills are still good. I get the same work done. I get more people to do it for me. Now, where do you find people like this? You just go on Facebook and say, hey, Mexico, Facebook groups and try to find someone? It's a little dangerous, right? So that's where VPM comes in. Now, VPM is a marketplace platform where you can go on, and they have tens of thousands of professionals who are willing and wanting to work virtually from home. They have more than that. They are able to do the time cards. The employees will come in, they'll do their time cards every week. VPM handles payroll. Anybody here like doing payroll? I don't. I hate it. They do payroll for you. They do payroll reports. Now, here's the cool thing. So Isamar, my executive assistant, is in the process of buying a house. And because she's able to pull down these reports from VPM, her bank is happy with her income. So that's because she's got the reports from VPM. They also have training. They have a bunch of training modules that they're actually growing as time goes on that your team members can actually go on and do training. and their customer support is amazing. So let me just give you a quick example. I went on the other day and just did a quick search. I'm going to look for an assistant, right? So I went on, I looked for an assistant. I put in admin support as skills. And from there, you could choose a country, or what I did was I just kept it open for any country, but you can choose a country in there. English proficiency I put as bilingual or native. And then I put a weekly budget or an hourly budget of $1 to $15 an hour. After that, I pressed search, and I got 532 matches. That's a lot of people, right? And so after that, it's like, okay, cool, I've got plenty to choose from. So if you want to go ahead and post a job, just click that button up there. And the way you submit for a job, it's pretty quick. It takes maybe 5 minutes, really. You go in and you put some basic information, whether it's part-time, full-time, short-term, long-term. Put the title in there, the category, the description. Now, we talked about job descriptions. Not everyone had them in here. But you can go on here and they actually have templates that you can use. So you don't have to recreate the wheel. You take what they have and you modify it to what you want. From there, the language, I always choose native or bilingual. Expertise, general software skills and things like that. They don't have all software in there because there's so many out there, but it doesn't matter because a lot of softwares are alike. They just come with different names and you could train them up. It's not a big deal. The academy, we talked about training, right? So if you want your candidate to have specific training, you can go through here and you say, I want them to have marketing or whatever, sales. Your budget, for this one I put between $7 and $12. If you know somebody on VPM or you saw somebody, you can invite them by name. Or if someone's not on VPM, you can actually send them an email, invite them on the bottom one, and they'll get an invite to join VPM and to apply for your job. You have an opportunity to review your job, and then you complete it. And then after you complete it, VPM actually gives you a bunch of matches that you can check out. And this one here, there's over 3,000 matches, but what I typically do is I just look at the first 4 or 5 pages, and I go through them and I look for specific things. And from there, you're able to click this button over here, and you can invite them to apply to your job. Now, I'm not sure about you, there's a lot there, and I would actually pay for this, but the great thing is I don't, and neither do you, because VPM for us business owners is free. Now, you're probably asking, well, how do they get paid? You know, they're a business, right? They need to make money. So what they do is whenever the employees apply for VPM, they know that 10% of their pay goes towards VPM. It's full disclosure, there's no hidden fees, they already know that, so when you hire somebody, they know that a portion of their pay is going to VPM. So there's nothing hidden there. So what's your next step, right? You can scan this QR code here, and it's on the pamphlet that I gave you, and that QR code is gonna go to the VPM page, and on the VPM page, you're gonna see a short video of me, and I essentially, in 2 minutes, summarize what I just told you, so you don't have to watch it. You can if you want. But there's 2 buttons here that you can click on. You go on there and you can create your free profile. That profile takes you about 2 minutes to create. And it's super simple. There's no obligation. You can create your profile, search around, and if you need help, VPM is there to help you out. Now, I know when I first started, and I started getting jobs putting out, I'm getting like a lot of 20 or 30 people applying for my job. I got overwhelmed. I was like, I don't have the time for this, right? It was difficult, and I get it. I've been in your shoes before, and I wish I had someone to help me out through that process. VPM does have a white glove service, but they don't actually go out there and interview and hire for you. That's going above and beyond. But because I know there's a need for that, and because my team actually created a really good interview system, what I had them do, I had them go out, look for candidates, and I had them actually interview them and put them on Zoom, and then I would come home at night and I would eat dinner or drink whiskey, and I would watch the interviews and choose which one I wanted. My team did all that hard work for me. All I had to do is make a decision. And that was so easy, and we've done so well on it that we started doing it for other people. And we typically charge $24.95 for that, but for the Build Expo, we're gonna do $14.95. If you need help finding somebody, if you need help coaching through the process, we've done it a million times. We'd love to help you out with that as well. Now, my favorite part is social media. Now, I told you what Fernanda does, and somehow they found the algorithm where one day we were at 1,400 Instagram followers. The following week we had 2,800. And they figured out the whole hashtag thing and when you should be posting and things like that. You know, if you're out of sight, you're out of mind. That's why social media is so important, right? You're probably learning that too. The hard thing is, though, you can go out and take all the photos and videos you want, but when you go home at the end of the night, you gotta edit, you gotta do this.
I got 8 kids.
Yeah, okay.
My wife gets on me, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I gotta go disappear for a little bit.
Do you have a monthly plan of like, hey, I'm gonna post? Yeah, so to be successful in the social media world, you have to have a monthly plan, which we have. Every month we come up with a plan of what we're gonna post on each of the mediums, TikToks, Instagram, Facebook. We're starting to do LinkedIn and then YouTube Shorts, and increasing our brand, right? I was listening to a podcast 2 weeks ago, and it was a contractor talking about how 70% of his revenue comes from Instagram, and it's organic. He's not paying for ads. It's all organic. And it takes time. It takes about 6 months of consistent posting, but he's got a plan and he's following it, and he's seeing the reward 6-10 months later. Now for us, as of last week, we've only been doing this 10 months. We got 3,600 followers, and we average 150 followers a week. And these are people that just love our before and afters, our posts. People are viewing it like 3,000, 5,000 times. It's pretty amazing. I couldn't do it on my own. I got 2 20-year-olds in Mexico doing it for me. You know, they're really good. So we said, you know, we got something here. And I know small business owners have a hard time doing this on their own. So we started doing it for other people. And this is Cody. Cody is a car detailer in Pennsylvania. And he came out to us, he goes, hey Chris, I got all the photos and the videos. I just don't have time to do it because he's too busy detailing cars. So we said, okay, we'll help you out, Cody. So here's a video of him washing a floor mat against a garage door. Now, doesn't sound exciting, right? Because he's just washing a floor mat. But apparently it's exciting because in 24 hours, he got 15,000 views. People love this kind of stuff. And what we did was, he doesn't have time to look at his data. What we did was we looked at his data and we went to say, hey, Cody, you have to do more videos like this. So he's been posting more videos like this, and his audience has grown quite a bit. And that's how it works. And this is what we can do. So what we could do, we usually do it for $12.95 a month, but for Build Expo, we can do it for $9.95 a month. And this is gonna help build your brand and get your name out there and help that evergreen type marketing happen for you over social media. And that would be a post on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, every day of the week. So that's a total of 21 posts, and then a YouTube video every week too. And then we're gonna start working in LinkedIn. We're talking about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an unused platform for people like us. You know, only 2% people really use it for business, and you know, that's an untapped market right there. So we're gonna start doing that as well. So what you could do is when you scan that QR code, you're gonna scroll down, you're gonna see my photo down there, and you're gonna see that book your free consultation. If you're interested at all in us helping you find a worker on VPM and coaching you through that, or the social media, you can schedule a time with me through that button right there, or I'm actually here right now and we could talk through it. And then if you have VPM specific questions, we have Peter in the back there. Peter's from VPM, and he can answer all your questions regarding VPM. And if you need help, like I said, I can certainly help you out. But with that said, you know, that's my story. Like I said, I'm here to give my testimony on how remote team members have helped me and the systems that we created. And really what we want to do is just help other people in the trades grow their business, because you know, we work together and we want to see everyone grow and get better. So I appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, I'm here. Cool, guys. Thanks. Yes, sir.
On the interview process, especially with your subcontractors, what's your process? How do you do that?
For my subs? Well, for the subs is a little different than this, right? My subs, what I do is, first of all, I make sure they have all their tickets in place. They have their insurance. Are you here in Texas? So I want to make sure they have their insurance. I want to make sure, you know, what I like to do is like, are they a part of like the Greater Houston Builders Association? Are they investing in themselves? Do they have a crew? and I like to check out their work, and I like to check to see if they have a website or at least a Facebook page where I could check out, credibility and reviews and things like that. Once I feel comfortable with that, I test them out on smaller projects, and then if we work well together, and they're like, because we got core values and we're really strict with them, if they work well with us and they're a part of our core values, we go ahead and start using them on bigger projects. Anything else? No? Cool. Well, guys, like I said, I'm here if you need help. You get the QR code. Peter's here if you want to talk more VPM stuff, and I appreciate your time. I know it's the last hour of the day, but I think this was, I hope you guys found something valuable out of this.